Hi there, it's Carl Irwin, the Common Magician, and I've got something interesting to share with you. I've been emailing with a number of people, actually, occasionally send me emails concerning my thoughts or something that I've posted on the channel and questions that they have or ideas that they have. And one person in particular asked me like a week and a half ago or so whether or not if I had a set of card magic, specifically card magic, if I had a set that I work off of, like a performance set. The short answer to that is no, I don't have a set because I don't do shows. I don't do shows. I only ever perform as opportunity arises. Occasionally I'll prepare a trick ahead of time that I will have ready to do, something that I've been working on, and I know that the opportunity is going to be present for cards to be there or some other situation, and I'll do that trick, usually for newer material. But no, I don't have a set. But I do have tricks. I do have a handful of tricks that are go-to tricks for me. And I actually covered this on a sequence of videos called The Tricks That I Do, the tricks that I actually do for people. And it's a mix mash of different kinds of tricks, usually using found items, small objects, household items, and some of its cards. This is going to be specifically card-centric. That did get me thinking, though, that there have been a few occasions. This last Thanksgiving, I actually was with my nephews at their house, spending the holiday there with my family overnight. And one of my nephews said, "Show me something, show me some magic." And I did one, and he wanted to see more and more and more. And essentially that turns into a set. Now the question, the reason why the question came up was suggested that this individual, whenever they're asked to do things, they are often at a loss. They get very nervous, they get very uptight, and they don't know what to do, right? So my answer to that is it's good to have a set of tricks, a handful of tricks that get you, 15, 20 minutes of magic that, in my opinion, ought to be things that you can do without thinking about it. You've practiced them enough, they're simple enough, they're accessible enough, they're surefire enough that you know that they will be successful, and you can go right to that material and you can perform it. And you kind of want to pick, I think, among the things that you know best that are easy to do for you and accessible, of those pieces, which ones are the most effective. So it doesn't mean that you pick bad magic, really simple, stupid, easy things that people can see right through, right? The kind of the Uncle Bob sort of card trick that every kid knows, like the 21 card trick, that kind of a thing. Mathematical effects that, everybody learns at one point or another. I'm not talking about that. I mean a set of tricks that you have refined and that you have learned, but they are so accessible to you that you don't have to think about them. You can just do them. And I actually covered this on a sequence of videos recently called The Magic That I Do. And I did a whole bunch of videos where I presented, and I still may do more of these because it didn't cover everything, but it's the magic, the tricks that I do regularly, the things that I always kind of default to that fit into this category. Some of it is card magic, some of it is magic with found objects, some of it is magic with household items, some of it is magic with gimmicks that I carry on my person, particularly things that I carry in my wallet that I know that I always have that I can go to. Some of those things kind of get done rarely. They can be done once for a group of people and you never show them again, like the lottery prediction that I do, pick six. You kind of show that one time to people and it's the only time they'll ever see it. And then it rarely ever gets performed again, at least for the same group of people. But this is going to be card-centric. I'm going to kind of look back at some of those ideas and I'm going to give it to you in a set. This is a performance set. If I had to do a card magic set for people, sitting down, parlor kind of situation, table close-up magic, I might do something like this. And I don't really have this worked out in my head or planned, but I'm just going to kind of go in a logical sequence of some things that are accessible to me. If I need to kind of break in the middle there and switch gears, I'll tell you. But we'll just go through some things that I do one after the other, things that I would do in a set situation, where if I had to formulate a set, I had to do a show, I knew that I was going to have a venue where I was going to do close-up magic, parlor situation, or in a small close-up set with a table and a couple people sitting around me. Some of this even standing, right? Maybe standing walk around with a table. This is what I would do. I would start, this presumes shuffle deck in use. Okay, now I do have some prepared deck, memorized deck stuff. This is not going to fit into that category. I could have a performance set where I have a setup deck, but that is not typical for me. Very rarely do I have the deck arranged in a memorized order and I have something prepared to do. I do it, but it's rare, right? Usually I'm working off of a shuffle deck that's in use, either one that's part of a card game or off of the family game shelf in a house, or if I have my own cards, they're probably going to be shuffled, right? If I have them out and someone asked me to do something. So I would have the spectator shuffle the deck. I have an affinity for thought of or named cards. I don't like pick a card stuff for the very simple fact that everyone knows card magic as, okay, pick a card. They know this setup. There's a long-standing joke among magicians, right, where you say pick a card and the spectator can reply with, oh, I've seen this one before, because everybody's seen the pick a card trick. I prefer not to ever do pick a card where they pick a card. I'd rather have them see a card, think of a card, name a card. I exclusively try to use that. I don't like to do pick a card. If they're going to pick a card, it's going to be from a face-up situation where they're pointing to one or taking one out face-up or naming it outright. Okay, so I'll just start with that premise. So, deck is shuffled, in use. They give the cards back to me, right, and I set them down. And I like to usually start with a sequence of effects that kind of tie in together. The first one is usually this, where the deck's been shuffled, I take it and I take the card off the top, or I have them cut and I take one out of the middle. And I talk about what facilitates card magic, right? What is it that magicians need to know? What are some of the skill sets that magicians develop in order to do the magic that they do? What is it? What's behind the gearbox? What is making it work? One of them is a sensitivity to the playing card. So if I have the cards here, I can feel kind of the weight of the card. Not only that, but it has a pliability to it. The black ink is a little bit stiffer than the red ink, right? More pips on the page, or a picture card is a little stiffer than smaller numbers on them. Also, because the ink is actually printed on, you can kind of feel the sharpness or dullness of it, right? And so you can see it here, right? The card bends, and you can feel kind of the pliability of it. And I'll look away so that I'm not looking at it, but you can kind of see here what it is, right? I'm not looking at it, I can't see it. I can feel this feels like red ink. It's not a picture card because there's a lot of space on there that I can feel. It's a little lighter. It feels kind of sharp, so I'm going to say it's probably a diamonds, and it seems like it's kind of a higher mid-value number. So I would say probably 5, 6, or 7. I don't feel anything kind of in the middle. So I'm going to say this is probably a 6 of diamonds. And if we take a look, we see it is a 6 of diamonds, right? So that kind of sensitivity really, really matters to the card magician. And over time, we develop this kind of sensitivity to cards. Now, that's one way to do it. Now, sometimes you don't have all the time in the world to handle the cards, right? Sometimes you have to just handle it very briefly, such as the case. It's one face up here, 4 diamonds there. Sometimes you have to handle it very briefly, and you don't get all the information you want. So for example, if I just take one from the cut deck and I can just kind of weigh it briefly, I didn't really get a good feel on it, but it felt like kind of the middle number, right? And it felt kind of like the weight of a black card. So I'm going to say this is probably a black 4 or a 5, probably a black 5, right? And if we take a look, we see 5 of clubs. So that's one of the things that a magician works hard on, a card magician, is they work on developing the sensitivity to the tactile nature of cards. And that helps to facilitate the card magic that we do. The other thing that we do is we try to work on discernment from micro expression, facial cues. This is the nonverbal communication that is inevitable. You're always communicating with me. I'm always communicating with you. It's body language, right? But there's actually small amounts of body language. You call it micro expression. This in poker, this would be referred to as tells, right? A person's tells is really a concept in micro expression. If you were to shuffle the cards here, And I take the cards and I'm going to dribble, and I want you to tell me when to stop. So very quickly, I just say stop right there. Now what I want you to do is, in fact, I'll give you a choice. You can either go here, one more, or one less, because I want to make sure this is fair. One more. Go ahead and take a look. I will look away. This is the next card. You can see what it is right there. Now, I don't know what it is, but I can figure it out. And I didn't handle the card. See, I didn't touch its face. I didn't weigh it. I'm not really in a position. It's lost in the middle. But if I look at you and I start to sneak in words, right, if I can somehow say red or black, I can see that you have a little bit of a twitch when I say black. So I know it's on the black side of the card. I could also allude to like pictures hanging on a wall or numbers, right? And I can see this is kind of confusing. Picture, number. You're not really sure what to think of this, but you kind of favor numbers, which means that it's probably one of those really ambiguous ones. It's probably an ace, right? Because it's kind of a picture. It's not really a number. It's a letter, right? I'm going to say that it's an ace, and we know that it's black. You favor black, ace. So that leaves me clubs and spades, and that's your tell right there, right? I can see that you give a little smirk when I say spades. This is an ace of spades is what you saw. So this microaggression is, not microaggression, that's something completely, microexpression, this is something that we develop in magic. So tactile sensations, microexpression, the ability to pull out information from people. Now, that doesn't really give me the whole picture though, right? There are really just some situations where if I were to ask you to just think of any card at all, you could think of one, and there's no way that I would know what you're thinking. I would have to have you tell me. Now, of course, you could be thinking of any card at all from the deck, and if you look somewhere in the center, your eyes might be attracted to one or another as you see them go by. Now, I don't know what you're thinking, if you've seen something already or not. And apart from giving some of these micro expression cues and trying to determine from your body language, there's no way for me to know, right? So I would just say, name any card. Name any card that comes to your mind. Do you have one? 5 of diamonds. Let me see if we have it in here. 5 of diamonds. This should be a complete deck. These are my cards, so I know that they're all in here. 5 of diamonds, you said? There's a 5 of hearts. Here's 5 of diamonds. Okay, so the 5 of diamonds is the one that you're thinking of. Now, you thought of this on your own. Your mind just kind of went to it. And it's very curious because the 5 of diamonds, as I'm going to show you, I'm going to put it in here in the middle, face up. So you can see it's right dead center in the deck, face up. In fact, if we spread through, you can see it. Right where we placed it in the middle. Absolutely verifiable, right next to the 5 of spades, ace of spades there, is your card, which is the 5 of diamonds, right here, right in the middle. Now, you thought of this. Now, it's very curious that you thought of the 5 of diamonds because that is one of those very ambitious kinds of cards. It's always upstaging the other cards. I kid you not. It wants to be selected. It's one of those cards, it's probably one of the top 4 or 5 cards that people just name outright. It's the 5 of diamonds. It always wants to be picked. It wants to be picked so badly that it'll even rise through the deck from the center where we had it all the way up to the top. And if you look, I've done nothing with the cards. We placed it in the middle, you saw it, but here it is, it's at the top. Right? What in the world? How can that be? You can even see, right, if we look through here, there is only one 5 of diamonds. It's the only one that's in here. All these, there's a 5 of spades in there, but only one 5 of diamonds, right? And you can see it's all the way at the top, right here on the very top. If you look at this, we'll show you again. Immediately, I place it right in the center, and immediately it jumps right to the top. You can see even tried to crawl away there to be picked. 5 of diamonds. It's absolutely astonishing. Now, some people think that I mark it on this idea that people like to pick the 5 of diamonds, so I put one in there automatically. I put a spare in. Really, truly, there is only one. If you look all the way through this deck, you'll see that there's only one 5 of diamonds. All the way through. Only one 5 of diamonds, and it's right here at the top. It's the only one that there is, okay? Now watch this. What I'm going to do, let me pick up the card I lost. It helps to do card magic, not to drop your card. What we're going to do is I'm going to put this into the middle. And we're going to use fewer cards so you can see this a little bit better, right? But you can see it all the way in there. There's your 5. going into the center. And if we snap just a second later, it does come up to the top. Let me try that again. If we snap just a second later, I saw it move. I think it's there. Oh, I know what's wrong. You see, this isn't the top of the deck. The top of the deck is over there. Remember, I cut it off when we put it in. And you can see that indeed your 5 of diamonds has shown up all the way over here. So anyway, that is the ambitious card, right? The 5 of diamonds is the one that everybody wants to come to. We can try something else here, though. To make this a little bit more fair, imagine that you have a continuum here, right? In space. I'm going to move my finger, and I just want you to say stop real quick. Say stop anytime. Right there. So we're just a little bit, at least in terms of a number sequence, a little bit past middle, right? So this would be kind of like 5, 6, 7. And if we think kind of like right in the middle of that would be maybe the 6s, right? 6s right there. Now this is really, really interesting because because I've seen the cards, I've been using them, even though you shuffled them at the beginning, and I've seen the cards, I kind of know where things are at. I can sort of memorize this a little bit, and I can find all of the 6s, right, one at a time. There's the 6 of diamonds. If we cut maybe like this, we can find the second 6 of spades. We'll try something else here. In fact, what I want you to do is I want you to just tell me when to stop. I'm going to shuffle the cards. You say stop anytime. Say stop. Right there, you sure? And you see that you've stopped here at the final 2 6s. So even you can find the 6s in the deck from a shuffled deck and use. So that's another just kind of demonstration of card control, another thing that magicians have to work on. In fact, I'd like to show you something else if you don't mind. I'd like to try this again, where I try to find these 6s in the deck. These are kind of sticky here. We'll just spread them out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the 6s back in the deck, and I'm going to see how quickly I can find them. What's the matter? Oh, they're upside down? Well, it does make it easier, right, to find them when they're upside down. I can see them right away. But let's try to make this a little bit more difficult. In fact, what I'm going to do is we're just going to take cards and we're going to reverse them. So we have some cards that are facing up, some cards that are facing down. We've got kind of a mix-match sort of situation here, and we don't really know what exactly the order of the cards are in. Some are up, some are down, some are face-to-face, some are back-to-back, and no rhyme or reason to it really whatsoever. But what we're going to do is we're going to somehow find those 6s from this mess. You can see that we do have a situation. We have back-to-back, face-to-face, but in this one moment, everything is made right. Everything is made right. You don't believe me, but I'll show you. Everything is made right except for the 4 6s. You can see they're all right here, facing up. Everything else is now facing down. Now, that's curious enough. But you see, as I said at the beginning, magicians get used to feeling the tactile sensation of the cards. And if you work hard enough at this, you can learn to do it very, very quickly, very, very efficiently, right? I'll show you. I have black over here, black 6s, red 6s over here. I kind of have 2 piles, black and red. What I'm going to do is very quickly, I can just sense. Again, these don't necessarily have to be my cards. You can get these chunks where sometimes they're together, sometimes they alternate. Oh, there's another. Call this one red or black. What do you think? Red? Black. See, you haven't quite acquired the skill, and you're not handling them either. All right, so I think I got it all. So we have black over here, we have red over here. Let's just see sort of how we did with this. I think we did it. No mistakes, no mistakes. Let's take a look. Black, all black, all black, all the way through. In fact, if you take a look at all of the cards, right, you can see we've separated red on this side, black on this side. It's a perfect separation from disorder, chaos, back into order. So that is, what a magician strives for. is that ability just by touch, just by feel, to be able to do that. I do want to try something, though. We'll do another experiment. This is one final idea, one final concept for you to chew on. This has more to do with you than it does with me, because I've developed these skills, and I've been showing you the skills that I have. These skills of sensation, of touch, the skill of discernment, of body language and micro expression, as we call it. I have these skills, but I want to show you that everybody has some of these skills. Everybody has some ability to sense, and if you can just bring this out, people can do some pretty amazing things. I want to try something real quick. We have a deck of 52 cards. I can have you shuffle it if you want to. Same idea. Rather than think of a card and call one out, I want you to really try to make a real decision that is not influenced by social norms, okay? I'm just going to show you the cards. I want you to just name one that you see from somewhere in the center of the deck. Any one that you see, any one at all. Go ahead and name one. 9 of spades. 9 of spades is what you settled on. Now, this is really important. There's only one 9 of spades. There's a 9 of clubs on the face. There's only one 9 of spades. Again, this could be a borrowed deck of cards, okay, but it's very essential that we establish there is only one. Now, you know that it's in here. It does not matter where it's at. It doesn't matter if you know where it's at. It doesn't matter if I know where it's at. It only matters that someone else, they don't know where it's at. Okay, you freely pick this, and what I need you to do is I need you to randomly select a number of cards. So why don't you cut approximately half the cards, put them right there. So you cut the deck. Very good. Perfect. Okay, so we have a situation where you thought of a card freely. You made a legitimate choice, right? You thought of color, you thought of a suit, you thought of a number, you thought of a value, and you came up with it, and you saw it in the deck. You know that it's in there. You know that it's the only one, the 9 of spades. You also made a choice. You made a choice of a number of cards. You cut them out of the deck. And I want to point this out. I didn't touch the deck. I did not touch the cards. You cut the deck where you wanted to, hands off. I had nothing to do with this. Now, if I was doing the trick, you know I have the ability. I would be able to sense what a card value is. I would be able to sense a location. I would be able to track something. But I'm not the one that did it. I didn't think of the card. I didn't pick the number. You thought of the card. You pick the number. Go ahead and take these cards that you cut out of the deck. And what I want you to do is random number. I just want you to count them face up right here. Nice and slow. Count very carefully. So you can count the cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Slow down. 26. Stop right there. Is that the last card? That's the 27th card. I want you to place it right here, face down, right there. And I want to point out, we didn't see the 9 of spades in there, right? And these are the remaining cards. And if you take a look here, we don't see the 9 of spades anywhere in here either. We already know what has happened, but I just want to point this out. This is kind of the holy grail of card magic. We call this any card. You named any one you wanted, 9 of spades. At any number, you picked any number of cards that you wanted. You did it, not me. Hands off. I didn't touch the cards. You've done all of this all on your own. You picked 27. What are the chances that your card would end up at your number? The 9 of spades at the 27th position. I'll tell you what, the chances are about 1 in nearly 3,000 that one piece of information would confirm the other. But you can see here, go ahead and turn it over. That is exactly what has happened. So this is just a set of tricks that I can sequence together, okay? I didn't really give any forethought to this. I kind of just went one to the next to the next. These are ideas that build up the kind of the way I see it. You have this premise that I said about discernment. Discernment, tactile discernment. Can I feel what cards are? Discernment based on micro expression, right? Can I determine information just by the way you look, by expressions that you're giving? I move from there into kind of this premise of cards that are chosen frequently, right? You freely named any card that came to your head, and I show you that this card is ambitious, and I do an ambitious card routine. The card comes to the top. And this is all legit. I'm not like going to recut any of this, warts and all. Any kind of hiccups that happen, I drop a card on the floor. This is real life. This is how it really works. Some moves are not quite as clean as others, but you deal with the situation you have. The cards got a little sticky. You deal with what you have, right? This is how it works. So ambitious card routine. I go from that. I use the moment of the ambitious card routine to call myself sixes. I do a continuum force, right, into a 6. So I can call out when I'm doing ambitious card. I can call out 5, 6s, 7s, or 8s, whatever is advantageous. I went for the 6s. And then I do a cutting to the 6s. And with the continuum force, it's as if they chose the value, right? And I'm ahead. I'm ahead on the value, and I can make this any value I want. If I picked 8s, I could say, oh, it's a little past center. That would be the 8s, right? The 8 out of 13 cards, right? It was just past, and I needed to get 6 is what I went for. So I said 1 through 10, just past the middle. And you can make just past the middle anything because you don't really establish where the beginning and end is. You say, imagine a continuum out there. And I like to do left and right rather than up and down, because when you do up and down on this force, there's an automatic assumption that you have low value and high value. I want to go this way, so if they stop me early, I can say, well, okay, that was quick. This is just before about halfway, right? So if this is 1 through 10, we're at about a 6. I can make it whatever I want, right? So they've essentially came up with a value, and I cut to the value. It just makes it a little bit more impossible, but I'm ahead on that, right? Then I've got blacks and reds out there, and then I do my order from chaos routine, which in my case, and I've shared this before on the channel, is a cutting to 4 of a kind, usually aces, in this case with 6s. Then I have the ability to go from there to a triumph routine where I put them in face down, right? And then I do a slop shuffle. And then, and it wasn't even the perfect scenario. I think the way I did it, they all kind of ended up on one side of the shuffle, but it still works. It still works well enough, right? I do a red-black separation on my slop shuffle. And I get there. By the way, the very beginning stuff is peaks, right? So there's a bubble peak on one of those ones at the beginning, and then a bend peak, which I've covered on the channel before. So I don't think I mentioned that. Anyway, I do a slop shuffle with red-black separation, and that gets me one ahead for Out of This World. So once I have my 6s out there, I have black 6s, I have red 6s, I could do my Out of This World. And then the revelation that I do is this. I don't like to split halfway through where the original presentation is, well, we're going to switch now, right? For no reason whatsoever. And this will be the red pile and this will be the black. I don't like to do that. I'd rather do a scoop and spread revelation, which is a preference of mine. I saw, the first time I ran into that was David Blaine. I saw do that. And I can't remember where he got it from. It actually is in print. I've asked this question before and I've been told, but it escapes my mind right now and I don't have time to go look it up. Maybe it'll come back. Oh, Paul Harris. Paul Harris does this reveal for Out of This World. Okay, so you scoop and then you spread, and it gives you a very clean revelation, red on one side, black on the other. It's different depending on how your triumph comes out. So I do that. And then I go from there. I can't remember, what did I do next? I did any card at any number. That's my favorite rendition of any card at any number. I've gotten flack from people about that, saying, well, you're really just cutting to the thought of card or the named card. I like to have them count through the cards because I like to talk about choosing a number, right? And some people say, well, that's just a waste of time. You should just do it. Fine, whatever. You do it your way, I do it my way. I'd rather increase the tension and have them count. It allows me to ring in the name David Berglas, and I can talk about how he does it. I would say, he would have someone just name a card, and he would have someone, randomly pick any number. And that's what's happened here. You named any card you wanted, yes, and you picked any number that you wanted. You chose the number of cards you wanted, and I did not touch the deck. With this presentation, I can say all of those things, and I can conflate the scenario to fit the classic rendition. The goal is I want people to walk away. The last trick that they see, I want them to walk away saying, I named any card, they picked any number, He didn't touch the cards. They ended up together. He did not control the outcome. We have no idea how it happened. And that's kind of the high bar, right? I've talked about control. I've talked about sensation. I've talked about tactile sensation, weight. I've talked about micro expression. I've talked about control. And then the last thing I end up with is this, where I didn't have any control. They did it all. And obviously I call their selection and then you crisscross force it back out. So that's my favorite ACAN. I've got other one. I've got a whole bunch that I like to do, but that is my favorite one. So that's a set. That could be a show. It could be a show. Do I have a set? I guess if you want to call that a set, that would be a set. And that gets you a chunk of time, 20 minutes or so, 15 to 20 minutes of magic, especially if you slow down and take the time to interact with people. This is a very sterile environment where I'm just talking and doing it. I'm not having any interaction. You don't have that misdirect going on there. You don't have the opportunities in here where you would have people shuffle the cards in between things. And for most of the stuff, you can do that. So that was with minimal control and effort, with really no extra moves, no extra stuff going on in the middle, no audience interaction. You could get maybe up to a half hour just with that sequence of tricks. So do I have a set of card magic? Sure. These are tricks that I know that I can go to. I'll do them right every time. A few of them, they even sequence together. I'll never do Out of This World without doing the Triumph. And I probably will never do the Triumph without doing the cutting to 4 of a kind. Usually aces. Usually it's one, then the other, then the other. I could have 4 selections made and do the Triumph, and then from that separate them into red and black, and then do the Out of This World. I could do that as well. That'd be a possibility. But yeah. Yeah, so again, the recap. I don't like pick a card. I don't like pick a card. I like name a card. I like think of a card. I like point to a card from a spread. I do not like pick a card. I avoid that like the plague. I don't want to do those kinds of tricks. So anyway, that's my set. More often than not, that's the stuff I'll do. I've got a lot of other tricks that I can resort to, but in a sequence here on the fly, that's the kind of thing that I would do if I had to do a sequence of tricks. So anyway, good luck with that. Happy magicking.